Tonight's topic is sorting through the past to move forward in your marriage. We're actually going to show you a 4-step process on how to get forward. So how to move forward without getting stuck in the past. We're going to jump right into, one of the first parts. One of the first parts of the process is we want you to, instead of focusing on the pebbles, prioritize the big boulders.
Yeah.
Prioritize the big boulders. And what this means is like we the boulders and pebbles, right? So pebbles are those little tiny little things where you said this the other day and I didn't like the way you did this. And it's like those little issues, right? And we can all jump back and forth and go into those little issues. But what happens is when you have those little issues, what happens? You never get to no resolve, right? So when instead of focus on those little pebbles, right? We want you to focus on the big boulder.
That's right.
And when you focus on a big boulder, things are going to move, it's going to move easier, right? So just imagine, right, if you got a whole bunch of pebbles in your yard that's blocking something, right? And within those whole bunch of pebbles, you got a big boulder too. Is it best for you to take out one pebble stone by stone? No. It's best for you to say, you know what? Let me at least move this big boulder out the way so we can start moving forward. It can lead the way to where we need to go. So we want you to start focus on the biggest issues versus focuses on those little pebbles.
That's right. Type leave the pebbles in the comments. Leave the pebbles. Leave them alone. Okay. Those little situations. And here's the thing. Sometimes that's the hindrance. Is like you want to talk about what happened last week, what was said the other day, what you did, what I didn't like, right? What didn't go right, that situation. Those are all your pebbles. And the thing about it is you can spend all your time trying to pick them up, but you can pick those up later. We can pick up the pebbles later, y'all. We don't have to focus on that right now. Okay, pick up those bigger boulders. What are those bigger boulders? Those bigger issues.
And check this out. I want to say something, right? You saying we can go back and focus on later. Sometimes depending on where that boulder is, you don't have to go back and even move the pebbles. Because if all the pebbles are on top of the boulder, you move that boulder out the way, what's going to happen? All the pebbles fall.
Yep. 100%. 100%. So you want to tackle those bigger issues, right? You want to get to the bigger issue. What is holding? That's the question you want to ask. What's holding the most weight in your marriage right now? What's holding the most weight? What problem, what issue is holding the most weight? What's having the biggest impact on your marriage right now? Okay. Most relationships, they have about 2 to 4 boulders. That's a number for you. 2 to 4. So what are 2 to 4 big issues in your marriage that you want to address? What are those big issues? 2 to 4. Okay. And, point what those out. Point out what those are. Leave the pebbles behind. We can address those later. Let's pick out the boulders. All right. So that's P. All right. So it's a 4-step process. The first letter is P. Okay. So prioritize the biggest boulders. The next one is A for address them one at a time. Okay. That's the second step. Address them one at a time. Once you know what those boulders are, those big issues, those things that hold massive weight, whatever that is, like it could be, for us, one of our biggest boulders was our parenting differences. That was one of our biggest boulders, especially when it comes to having a blended family, right? And so he came into the marriage with older children and then we had children together. And so we had all, these different situations, different ages and different situations. And we had to, really tackle that. That boulder was big for a while. Why? Because, I had never been in the position of a step parent before. Right. And so for me, I was like, okay, I think you should do it this way. I think we should do it this way. I think we should do it that way. But he already had his prior experience. And we laugh about it, all the time because like we both came in with these different ways of parenting and eventually we were able to put it together and put it to work, but that was a big boulder for a long time. And so if you have a blended family, that may sound familiar to you. The parenting differences may be a big boulder that you need to address, right? And so when you address your boulders, you want to address them one at a time. One at a time. Okay. Let's say you come up with 4 different big issues that you have. Address them one at a time. A problem a lot of couples have is we want to address everything in one conversation. That used to be us.
addressing everything in one conversation. Then while we trying to address everything in one conversation, more and more stuff kept coming
Exactly.
up. So the pebbles and everything was coming up, and therefore we couldn't get nowhere. We couldn't actually like find the root cause of what's going on. And but once we started moving those boulders, addressing those boulders, we was able to find out, like, what's the root cause of this? Okay, going back to, it's our parent differences.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how did you grow up? How did I grow up? What are our parenting skills? Okay, now let's put this together and work on it. Because, and when you start addressing those boulders, you start having those conversations, right? You start asking questions and have those conversations. So, what effects is this having on our relationship?
Exactly.
And then what effects is this having on you personally and me personally, right? So therefore we can, address those things one at a time.
Yeah. And when you are addressing them, that's what you want to do. The first thing you want to do is find the root cause. What's the root cause? What's causing the problem? Where is this rooted at? Right? And after that, you want to ask, like, what are the contributors? This is while you're addressing the problem, the bigger issue, right? What are the contributors? What's contributing to this right now? Is it stress? Is it lack of priorities? Is it lack of intimacy? What's contributing to this? Right? And then after that, you want to ask, okay, what effects is this having on each of you? Because when you're going through stuff in your marriage, it's affecting both of you. Sometimes it looks like it's only affecting one person. It's affecting both of you, right? And so how is it affecting both of you? That's a conversation you got to have. And what does that take? Vulnerability. That takes vulnerability, to be open, to be honest and say, this is affecting me in X, Y, Z type of way, right? Whatever that looks like, and just wearing your heart on your sleeve. Okay. And then after that, lastly, what's the result that you see? While you're addressing this boulder, what is the result that this root cause, the contributors, the effects are all having? What is the result that you're seeing? What's the pattern? Right? Because of all this, now we're suffering with X. Because of all this, our communication is Y. Because of all this, our intimacy is Z. Right? That's what you want to look at. That's how you address it one at a time.
That's right. And that's why I was saying, like, when you start addressing those boulders, sometimes the pebbles are going to fall into place because, going back to, our situation, once we was able to address, our parenting skills, our parenting, how we was going to parent our children together and come on one accord on that, other things started falling into place. We started being able to, have conversations about them without it blowing up. We started having better conversations, just even one-on-one, just getting to know each other more because we started learning about each other. Okay, this is the way you parent, this is what I parent, this is what I was taught, this is what you was taught. And we came together to make something special happen,
Yeah.
But we had to address the boulders and not getting stuck in the past. And a lot of times we was getting stuck in the past, repeating the same cycles till we sat down, what's this big issue? Let's tackle this big issue.
Exactly.
Right there and focus on this and staying on topic with that big boulder, that one issue at that specific time.
That's a big part of it, staying on topic. Because how many times have you already tried to have that conversation and it went 20 different ways?
I raised my hand. I was there.
Guilty,
was there.
right?
We was there.
Guilty. That's what happens. And so when we, when we focus on one issue at a time, we're getting to the solution for that. And so that's what you want to do. You want to get to a solution. Okay. As soon as something else starts coming up, no. This is the goal right here. Let's stay focused right here. This is the goal. Okay. And so that's A. So you got P for prioritize the biggest boulders. Okay. Then you have A for address them one at a time. Now here's the thing about that. It's going to get hard. That conversation is going to get uncomfortable and it's expected. Okay. Those hard conversations, they're going to get uncomfortable. Why? Because we're talking about the biggest issue that we have right now. And so a lot has to come out. The truth has to come out. Things have to come out. And so sometimes I wasn't always ready to receive the things that he was trying to tell me. I was not always ready to receive, all of the emotions that came behind the things he was trying to tell me. And a lot of the times he wasn't, same vice versa. He wasn't ready for all of the emotions and all of the things that I was struggling with, that I was trying to get out to him. He wasn't ready for all the emotions that came with that. And so what is the next letter? The next step is S. Okay. And that's for suspend all temptations to quit. when it gets hard.
That's right. And you know, and what that is going back to what you were saying, like when we having these hard conversations, especially about these big boulders, these big conversations, feelings and emotions are going to get, you know, you're going to have your feelings and emotions. When it happens, you got to suspend all temptations to quit. Why? Because you know what? This is getting heated. Let me walk away. Mm-hmm. You know, how many can relate to, you know, this is getting heated, or let me just shut down. You know, because these feels and emotions get involved. So it does get hard, but you got to be able to go through that. You got to be able to go through that, you know, especially if you want to see a resolve in that particular situation. So suspend all temptations to quit. Because once you quit, guess what's going to happen? It's going to come back up.
Yeah.
And you're going to repeat the same cycle.
Yeah.
And it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Well, why? Because you just added another pebble or another boulder back to that pile.
And that's, you know what, that's where your communication, not skills, your communication habits are going to come into play. Okay? Your habits. So for me, I had a habit of shutting down. I had a habit of walking away. I had a habit of, I'm done with this conversation. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Okay. And so those are clearly all bad habits that push that temptation to quit. And so I quit a lot of conversations. And so because of that, don't make the same mistake. You end up right back in the same cycle. Right? And so you want to suspend all temptations to quit. The conversation is going to get hard. It's going to get difficult. It's going to get uncomfortable. Okay. You're going to say, your spouse is going to tell you things that you're not ready to hear. They're going to tell you things you're not ready to hear.
This essence for suspend all temptations to quit, right? But while you're having this hard conversation, right? Use this essence to sharpen your communication habits.
Yeah.
Sharpen your respect for each other. Because a lot of times when you have these conversations, sometimes respect even goes out the windows.
Yeah.
We start pointing the finger or even saying things that we can't take back. You know? So you want to sharpen your communication habits as well.
That's right. That's right. And so again, that conversation is going to get difficult, but you know, sharpen those habits, sharpen what can come out of that conversation, because so many gems come out of that conversation. So many gems, right? But people miss it because we're stuck going in circles, or we're, you know, talking about this and then we're talking about that, and we're jumping to this topic, that topic, what happened last week, what happened today, what I really want, how I feel, how you feel, and it's all over the place. Okay? You're not going to get anywhere by going all over the place. So you want to stay focused. And then lastly.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Lastly, you want to go run through it again? We're gonna run through it. So we got Pat, like the fourth step to get past the past is what we call past. So the P stands for prioritizing the biggest boulders versus the pebbles. A was address them one at a time. S was suspend all temptations to quit when it gets hard, because sometimes it's going to get hard. And if you're ready for T, just drop a T in the chat so we can get right into T.
That's right.
I just wanted to set that up.
Okay. And the last one is to take individual responsibility and take united action. Okay. So take individual responsibility. What does that mean? Where's my fault at? Okay. Where am I going to take responsibility at? Where are you going to take responsibility at? Where's your fault at? What did you contribute to this? Okay. So we're taking responsibility individually. But ultimately, once we decide, okay, I take responsibility for that, we can't stop there. That's where a lot of people stop. They stop at, oh, I took accountability.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I took accountability. Like, this is where I messed up at.
But
I apologize.
But
right? But we have to take another step. We can't just stop at responsibility. We have to take that other step, which is to take action. We got to take action together. What kind of action? Action towards your solution. What is the solution to the boulders? What is the solution to the bigger issues? Okay. And again, if you're focusing on them one at a time, focus on one solution at a time. Right. And so these are basically the 4 steps that are going to help you really sort through your past. Like we said in the beginning, you don't want to talk about everything. You don't have to talk about everything. That's why so many people, you know, come to us after they've already done counseling. Why? Because they went the traditional way. And in the traditional way, they dove so much in the past that they left those sessions arguing more than when they started. Why? Because we're stuck on the problem. And we've been stuck on the problem week after week after week after week after week. And we've actually experienced the same thing.
Yep. And if we focus on a week after week after week after week, other things come in, weekly, because you're still having issues, and this continue a setback. So that's why, we focus on forward focused coaching, whereas like, we can show you how to address certain issues in the past, but we're not staying there. We want you to move forward. And so that's what our guide is to, we're here to guide you to help you move forward in your relationship, with your communication, with your trust, with your friendship, right? Just with your overall connection. And when, speaking of coaching, like what does a coach do? A coach stands on the outside and can see certain things that the players can't see and be able to map out actually game plan, right? So the team can win the championship. So the team can win the game, right? So that's what we do. We help married couples. We coach them through to win the game, to win that victory, right? And speaking of this, it makes me think of the scripture and I think Philippians chapter 3. It says, let go. I'm paraphrasing. Philippians chapter 3, I think 13 through 14, 12 through 14. It basically says like, let go of the past. Let go of the past and reach forward to the prize. Right? That's paraphrasing. So basically, you gotta be able to let go of the past and be able to move forward and gain that prize, right? To win that, to gain that prize. And some for you, that prize is like just having better communication, having a better marriage, being able to talk and be vulnerable, have your friendship back again, have better intimacy, have better connection with each other.